Most customers are curious about how I do what I do, so I decided to make a small, short instruction video kind of illustrating the process that I go through when I get a customer's piece to engrave. It's just a small piece of brass. As you can see, I've scribed a line so I can have a border to start with. So I'm going to cut in the line using what's referred commonly as a wriggle. It's just a method that we use with a graver, this is what's called a graver. It's attached to my handpiece, which of course is attached to my engraver. This is going to be a manual process, and I'm just going to wriggle my way up this line. I'm going to stop at the end, kind of come out a little bit, get that little burr off there. Come here and do the other on the other side. Whoops, this is moving on me. I'm going to have to tighten it up on my ball vise. That's what's referred to as an engraving ball or ball vise or engraving block. Let me go ahead and stop here and make my adjustments. Tighten it up a little bit so it won't move around. Make my third line. And then my last, I'm going to dip my graver in some oil, some cutting oil. Makes it easier to cut metal. Just a back and forth motion, walking the tool up and at a stop. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video right now so I can do a little bit of artwork on here to draw a little pattern, a little design, simple design, so that I can engrave the rest of it. So what I've done is added a simple, what we call a scroll design. I've just drawn the lines. This is the main backbone of the scroll, and I've drawn a couple of simple other lines that I can just go by. Now these lines are not meant to be followed exactly. They're just a guide for me to kind of see where I'm going to go from line to line. And I'm going to switch out my graver. This was the graver that I used for the wriggle. I'm going to use a chisel type of graver. It's flat on one side, it's ground down on the other, sharpened to a high edge. And now I'm going to have to turn on the engraver, so it's going to be a little bit noisy. You may not be able to hear me narrate the video. This is a piston and hammer type of action on the inside of this. I'll shut this off for a second, kind of show you what this and on the inside is made of. The handpiece is a hollow piece, and there's a piston on the inside which goes back and forth just commonly like a jackhammer would in a construction site. It's operated by a compressor that pulsates air back and forth, which gives it back and forth action. So I'm going to cut my first line, which is often referred to as a break cut. Start down here. Oops, I forgot. I'm sorry. I still need to cut the backbone of the scroll in first. So let's do that back with the wriggle, unassisted. I'm going to go down here and cut the line into the backbone of the scroll, as it's commonly referred to as. And notice that sometimes I will go off of the line. That is intentional. This line is only meant as a guide, a rough guide to where I can follow and kind of understand where I'm going. before I get there. So I'm going to cut the backbone of the scroll in the same way I did the border. Notice that as I'm rotating the ball, I'm adjusting its cutting angle with the ball, not the hand. The hand really doesn't move in its angle most of the time. And there is the backbone of the scroll. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch out to my chisel graver and then come back and start making these cuts. I'm going to cap it, which is often referred to as a cap cut. Sometimes I like to close the leaf off first so I kind of know where it's going to end. Right about there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from the end of that leaf, which that's what we're making now, is a leaf. With the pen working right. I'm going to go ahead and make the last leaf as well. Kind of shows me where the top of the leaf is going to be on the next one. Come back down here. Now that's the top of the leaf. I'm going to make the bottom of the next leaf, which is referred to as a bright cut. Come down here and start making the cut on the same cut, except a little bit above it. And as you see, I'm going to widen it out to the full length of the graver. Now I'm going to cap that cut, coming down here, make a small cut. Stop, come all the way around, and then out of the middle. Get the burr off. I'm going to go ahead and close it off before I do the bottom of the leaf. I just kind of like to do that most often. And let's do it that way. Now this is the top of the next leaf. And those are the leaves on the inside of the scroll. Now I'm going to come on the outside and make the leaves on the outside of the scroll the same way. And notice I'm not going to be following the line that I had back here. You come up here. Make the top of the leaf there. Make the bright cut. See how wide that is? Come back and cap it. Now the bottom of this leaf here, I'm going to follow the contours of the outside border. fix that when coming back with the cap cut. Nicely. I'm going to close this off right here. And there. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little area here. This is what's commonly referred to as a full coverage engraving job on the inside of this square. This is what I mean when I describe on the website about coverage. It all depends on the customer and what they're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and make the right cut here. Cap it off. From here. That off. Make a little bit of cut right there. Come on in here and finish off that leaf. So, now we've got one more side to do. I'm going to start off with a bright cut because it's the bottom of the leaf. Like that. Cap it. Bottom of the leaf. And now the top. Once again, I'm not going to be following the contours of that line. Instead, I'm going to go further up. And close it up like that. Right cut. Now, this is where these two leaves are going to meet. So I'm going to make them look like they're just one big conglomerate of leaves. Where the bottom is meeting the top. So I'm going to make another leaf here. Close it off. Now, that's already cut in. There's no burrs that you can feel. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shade it with a liner tool. That's what it looks like. I'm going to start back at the beginning here, come all the way back down here. Oops. And here. Now as I go, I'm going to lay the liner tool over to where it gets wider at the bottom. So from the bottom to the top. Come back again, same starting point. Make another one beside it. And roll it as I go. Come down here to do the next leaf all the way down here at the bottom. Rolling the tool as I go. Now I'm going to start doing the outside leaves. Notice how I turn the ball, and not my hand that I'm engraving with. And that is the conclusion of cutting in a simple and full coverage scroll design. So you can see what full coverage means. It means in between these areas here. It means everything that's engraved on the inside. This is brass, so it really wasn't very hard to cut, and that would be a lot different, say, if it was a piece of stainless steel, which is a lot more difficult to cut, or any other multiple kinds of metal. Depending on what properties the metal has, kind of determines how fast or how difficult or easy it is to engrave. Thank you for watching.